Okay, so are you ready to dive in? We're really going deep on this one. The Future Ahead by Werding Lewis. And I know you've read some excerpts, but
Yeah.
trust me, this is a deep dive for a reason.
Right.
This is, we're talking about a guy who lived through the Sudan Civil War, lost family, saw some really heavy stuff, but, and this is what gets me, he uses that to talk about love.
Yeah. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't think those two things would go together, but Lewis connects the darkness he's seen with this really hopeful vision of building a peaceful city.
Okay, a peaceful city.
Yeah, and he means that in two ways, like building that peace within ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
but also in the world around us. And he gets really specific about it, too.
Well, yeah, he lays out these requirements almost like he's drafting a constitution for peace or something.
He does. And at the core of it is this really powerful belief in shared humanity, equal rights for everyone. He doesn't budge on that. No matter your background, your beliefs, anything. Everyone deserves respect and dignity.
And that's where education comes in.
Absolutely. He's all about awareness, about breaking down those walls of prejudice and ignorance. He says that's how we get to a place of real understanding.
And then he hits us with these questions about God. Like, whoa, didn't see that coming.
Right.
It's almost like he's saying, okay, we're talking about peace, about suffering, about building a better world, but what about God's role in all of this?
And those aren't easy questions to ask,
Yeah.
especially for someone who's seen so much suffering firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, when I got to the part where he asks, does God have eyes? I actually stopped and thought about it for a minute.
You and me both. But that's Lewis for you. He goes there. He forces us to confront those big, uncomfortable questions about faith and doubt and theodicy.
And then just when you think he's done, he gives us these completely different ways of looking at life and death.
And creation.
Yeah, like he's almost rewriting the rules of existence.
It's classic Lewis. He's like, what if we looked at it this way? And your whole perspective shifts.
So, like, instead of the traditional idea of a god creating the universe, he talks about everything being interconnected and kind of self-made.
Exactly. It's all about how these different elements come together and interact. Even death, he says, is just a natural separation of those interconnected parts.
So it's like he's trying to find meaning in the chaos, in the suffering he witnessed.
Yeah, and he wants us to do the same, to grapple with those big questions and find our own meaning in it all.
And you know what makes you wonder, right? Like, maybe that's part of what leads us to love in the first place. That search for meaning, that need to connect with something bigger than ourselves.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely there. But then Lewis goes and puts love itself under the microscope, too.
Huh?
Which, I don't know about you, but
Oh, yeah.
makes me a little nervous.
Right, because love is supposed to be this big mysterious thing.
Right.
But Lewitt's over here with his test tubes and his equations trying to break it down.
He's not afraid to go there. I mean, this is a guy who calls himself a secret love explorer, remember?
That's right. He even uses his own dating life as research, like that story about the date who complimented his car before she even said hello. I mean, who does that?
Oh, I remember that one. It's hilarious, but also really insightful.
Yeah.
Because it got him thinking about what actually makes love last. What are the elements, the ingredients that go into making a relationship work?
And that's where he gives us that whole desiring fulfillment and expectation framework, right?
Yeah.
It sounds a little cold and calculated for something like love, if you ask me.